We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning. Welcome to the December 27, 2018 meeting for the Shawnee County Board of Commissioners. My name is Kevin Cook. I serve as the chair of the Shawnee County Commission. Joining me today is Commissioner Bob Archer. Good morning.
Good morning.
Commissioner Mueller is not able to join us today, but we wish her well in her travels. If we could, this is our last meeting for the year, so let's kick it off right. Madam Clerk, our first item.
Okay, proclamations, presentations. Number 1, presentation of fiscal year 2018 annual report.
Good morning, Commissioners, and happy holidays to you all.
You too.
I'm Susan Duffy. I serve as the General Manager for Topeka Metro, and it's my pleasure to share with you our FY 2018 annual report. This is an event that I come back each year for you. So you all have, oops, they're on the clerk's desk, I'm sorry. You should get a copy. And actually, we'll start on page 5. I just want to reiterate, we have a board. There are 7 members, and our newest member is Dr. Alan Bierman with Washburn University. We're so pleased to have him serve in this capacity, as he has a direct relationship with students. If we turn the page to page 7, connecting with the community. I think that is one thing over the last 6 or 7 years that we have really worked hard to do, is weave into our community. So whether it's taking folks to the fireworks display, or whether it's providing veterans a free ride the month of November, we really work hard to share with folks that your bus service is here for you. We do a lot of free rides. That is our way of advertising, since we really don't have an advertising budget. It's our way to hop on right now, try it, and in fact, you can hop on right now. Families ride free between during the winter break. And I just got a call yesterday from a grandpa, two grandsons, 5 and 7, and he and Grandma were like, okay, we need to do something. We've got them for the whole week. So they hopped on the bus yesterday, and he wanted to let me know they had a great time. They went to Top Dog and ate hot dogs, and he said they had never ridden a bus before. They're from a little town in Missouri, and they had a great time. So it's these things that we hope will introduce people to riding the bus, either occasionally or maybe making it your source of transportation. Turning the page to the electric future, to let you know, Commissioners, electric buses are really the only ones that are receiving any sort of federal funding, which is basically an 80-20 split. We have 26 diesel buses. Will be scheduled to replace a set in 2023. It takes about 2 years to birth a bus, and so we need to be thinking about that now. But just to let you know, the federal government is not participating in the purchase of diesel. They're looking at electric, and we have been studying this. We've been reviewing it. We are looking at other communities, what they're doing, to see if there is applicability in Topeka, Kansas. Turning the page to our operations, safety is always our first priority, and I am happy to report to you that we were the first transit in the state of Kansas to receive human trafficking training. It is now a requirement to get your CDL license that you go through this training. We've made this a priority, not just for our operators on the bus, but our entire staff. This follows along with, if you see something, say something, which we feel very strongly about. Also, we're in a lot of different situations. We are the eyes and ears on the street 13 hours a day. If it doesn't look right, these operators know their routes. If it doesn't look right, then call it in, we'll dispatch TPD, and they can check it out. So whether it's lights out, street light out, pothole, a dead animal in the street, it was a deer the other day at 10th and Gage, and I think we were the first ones to call that in. We are there. We do care about the safety of our passengers, our employees, and the big buses they drive. Turning the page again, in numbers, we have 12 bus routes, 10 paratransit. That service is declining, and as it declines, we are removing staff from that and using them in other ways. However, our overall ridership is increasing. So paratransit is decreasing. We think it's because we have a program that allows them to ride the fixed route free. They go through training. We get them familiar and comfortable with their surroundings and boarding a regular bus. We are working on the bus stop amenity program to be completely accessible by the end of 2020. We are doing this with federal money. On all of our projects, we've received an 80-20 grant, and we are pleased that we've added shelters and concrete pads. We've had donations coming from anonymous donors to, we're working on one with the Knights of Columbus. So, you know, we may not be puppy dogs and kitty cats, but there are people who understand that this is a valuable service and they want to donate. If you look at our expenses, you can see salaries and wages as our biggest costs, followed by the fuel that we purchase, and that the mill levy accounts for 50% of our revenue. Fares account for about 12%, and in transit land, fares usually account for between 12 and 15%. And we are a small urban, and we compare ourselves to other small urbans. We really work hard to get federal and state money. There is a formula they follow, and then we work to supplement that with additional grants. Turning the page, our ridership. Last year, at the end of the fiscal year, we ended at 1.27 million. This calendar year, we're believing that we will be close to 1.3. Again, our ridership is increasing, and we think it really has to do with working hard to get people on the bus, even at fuel prices of $1.97. So 100,000 boardings per month, 60,000 hours of fixed route service in a year. Turning the page to our bike share program, we were so thrilled to again partner with CapFed. They have been great. We have eliminated the red bikes. They were turning a tie-dye white, red color, and those were replaced by the company, and then CapFed purchased, help us purchase another 100. We have 300 bikes out there. I know you see them out at Lake Shawnee. It's the most popular place. Washburn is probably second, but you can see that we've burned 1 million calories in this community. That is a good thing. We've ridden 25,000 miles. With the GPS, we're able to track where they are, when they're used, time of day, how long they're used, and who is using them. So we have a lot of data, and the students at Washburn have used us as in the accounting department to do some studies on, and one group made it to the national finals, and my understanding they took first place with this explanation of our data, and there's another group that's working it to help us improve where we're placing the bikes. We are also looking to put our bike racks everywhere, and we're working with local entities to buy a rack, put it in front of your business, and to really become a bike-friendly community. And we did receive the silver distinction or bronze distinction this year from the bike-friendly cities, so we were very proud of that. Next page, Camp Metro. Camp Camp Metro. We have a camp director. They're all part-time students during the summer, usually Washburn and high school students. They go out to the camps. They teach kids how to ride the bus. This is a good thing because with USD 501, their middle school students and high school students ride the bus about 18,000 rides a month. So this gives the kids an opportunity to really understand, how do you board a bus? Why is a bus important? And I am happy to share that we will be going out to Shawnee Heights this year, and we will be doing how to rides with those students. The student organization reached out to us and asked us to come out there. They've checked it with their superintendent, so we'll be doing some how to rides with the high schoolers out there as well. This is a life skill. If you move to another community, Chicago, New York, you need to know how to ride transit. What better way than to learn in Topeka, Kansas with a friendly system? Next page, SODO, Ride to Work. We have a quote from our first SODO rider, and that has been, I would say, a real success. Almost 9,000 rides this year with SODO, and as you're aware, we've started NETO as well, and that's the North and East Topeka, Reesers, Goodyear, PTMW, Smuckers. So our mission is to get kids to school and people to work. That's what we're focused on, and so the workforce effort, we believe it doesn't have to be us. It can be the Capital City taxi picking you up at your door. You pay $5 to get to your workplace or to get home, and JADO is sponsoring that for Phase 1. For Phase 2, it's split between JADO and between the business. And then Phase 3, you phase JADO out, and it's between the business and the employee, as it should be. So it's working well, and we're very proud of that. Then the next page, I just am glad to list our accomplishments. We were named the Kansas Public Transit of the Year for the types of activities that we're involved in. We hosted the Kansas Rodeo here, and we were thrilled that one of our drivers, Michelle Brown, received first place. And then the second year it was in Manhattan, and Galen Brown got second place. So we're very pleased with our drivers. We think they're top notch. Reggie Moore, a driver that we've had for almost 30 years, received the Safe Driving Award by the National Safety Council, 25 years of driving with no accidents. And Bob DiStefano receiving the award from Visit Topeka because he's always good about sharing the things you can do in Topeka while you're riding the bus. Next page are the promotions that we offer throughout the year. Just to let you know, again, most proud of the Kids Ride Free all summer. Our 6th year, 41,000 rides. We know it works, getting kids to the school. This last year, getting kids to the pool. And so just proud to be a part of that. The last page on 25, these are things that our riders are telling us they want, and some of them we've been able to accomplish because of grant funding. We just received grant funding for Where's My Bus, the app that everybody lives by, and then Wi-Fi on the bus, which will be a real advantage to go after those choice riders, and the 24/7 accessible transportation. We're glad that we now have a partnership with Capital City, and there is a vehicle that's out there available for folks in wheelchairs that they can call and schedule a ride with the taxi company. But these others will need additional funding beyond what we're able to do. And as I know you're aware, we have asked for a mill increase. We have not appeared before the council for a vote, and that is something we'll be taking up this calendar year with them. And I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Commissioner Archer, questions?
No, I have nothing to add.
Susan, just a couple of questions. On the bicycles that we have, the cat-fed bicycles, have we seen a lot of vandalism or destruction or stolen? I know this was a concern early on. I haven't heard anything about it, so my assumption is we don't have, but one.
Over the last 3 years, we have lost one. And it was dismantled, and we think we know it's in somebody's basement. But by now, the GPS has died. But that is all. And we had some minor vandalism in the Noto area. It cost about $75 to replace. You could see on the camera, the tape, some knucklehead was trying to hammer the back with a hammer, and we just had to replace that. But other than that, they have remained vandalism-free.
That's great. That's
yes,
really great
it is.
News. I think that's something that needs to get out, the pride that we have in the bicycles and that it's working. Along with the SOTO bike share, or ride share, I know that we have our statistics of how many shares there are, and then the companies are also embracing their employees taking part in this. Is this helping with our workforce?
Yes, it is. We met with the HR folks, and what we're seeing even is that as they apply for the job, they're taking the SOTO taxi out there just to apply for the job. They believe that it is, as you can see, there are more that are being dropped off than getting picked up. So folks want to get there on time, be there for their shift, and then they worry about how they're getting home, whether they have to wait for a spouse to come pick them up or whatever. But the drop-offs are a lot more than the pickups. And she said, especially out at Target with their temps, that this is their way to ensure they're getting to work, and that temp can translate into then a full-time employee as they understand the rigors of the job and whether they meet those qualifications. I think the fact that they're willing to go to phase 2 and share in the cost leads me to believe they see the value of the program.
I know that Frito-Lay and Mars and the Home Depot have all expressed to JADO and to the Commission that we have a workforce issue in Topeka and Shawnee County. We don't have enough employees, and so I'm glad that we do have programs like this that help get employees to work and fill that gap.
And as you're aware, Research has been asking for this for a long time, and Brad was thrilled that finally they have the program.
Yes. And so now it's expanded to Goodyear and Reese's, Hills, or Smuckers.
Right.
So.
Yeah, and as others call, we just add them to the list, and that's what happened down south as well.
And this started out as being subsidized by JADO and then a 50-50 share with the Metro, and now it's borne by the business.
Right now, we're in phase 2 in SOTO, where it's split between JADO and the business. Next year, the business, and they need to figure out whether it's an incentive for their program, for their employees, or how they work that in. But at that point, I really believe JADO should say, business, we've had 2 years. You need to determine whether you want to continue with the service.
Okay.
Right.
And then finally, I noticed on your expenses and revenue, we do have a deficiency.
Yes.
And that's the reason for your mill levy, is to address that gap in funding?
We depreciate 100% all our assets, and we do that just like a family who puts money into their savings account to buy that car, to purchase the house, whatever it is. And so we're not able to completely to depreciate at 100% all of our assets. And so every 12 to 15 years, we need to be replacing our buses, and it's a big lug. And if we're buying diesel, we know the federal government will not participate. If we buy electric, they participate differently with the different programs, but we have to be ready to turn over these buses. You continue to run them. It's kind of like that crapshoot with your own car. At what point does the few pennies really begin to add up, and it's not cost effective to keep that vehicle and continue to make those repairs. When we go to sell them at auction, we've given some away, like the harvesters and, these 35-foot buses. We generally get $3,000 to $4,000, maybe $5,000, and we take care of them really well. And you consider that purchase price of $500,000, and then you're getting a few $1,000s, and they turn into a K-State party bus, or they're driven someplace else. Right.
Now, how many years has it been since there was a mill levy increase?
It will have been a decade, 10 years. Our request was for a mill beginning 2020, and that will have been a decade.
And this is to be addressed by the city council?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And the city council determines whether or not that mill levy is approved or not?
That is correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and we
Anything
appreciate
else?
working with everybody. We do work with a lot of your employees, and we enjoy that and look forward to having ongoing programs with them.
Thank you. Our next item?
Consent agenda.
There are 4 items on the consent agenda. Are there any questions?
Move to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second. Motion to approve by Commissioner Archer, second by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. All opposed. Passes 3-0. Our next item.
New business, A, County Clerk. Number 1, consider all voucher payments.
Mr. Chair, this morning we have vouchers totaling $810,154.09 on a voucher report dated December 26, 2018. The highlights of those vouchers are under sales tax, central mechanical construction for $66,000 for Expo HVAC final. General expenses, mail services totaling $41,000 for printing and mailing tax statements. Good morning, Larry. American Pre-Sort, $120,000 for postage. Torgerson Trenching Services, $12,000 for fiber relocate for the 29th Street widening project. And then finally, health coverage in the amount of $94,000. I've reviewed the vouchers. I did not have any questions or concerns, and I'll make a motion to approve them as presented.
I'll second. So a motion to approve by Commissioner Archer, second by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. All opposed. Passes 3-0. Our next item.
Number 2, consider correction orders.
I'll move for approval.
Second.
Motion for approval by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Archer. All in favor say aye. All opposed. Passes 2-0. I've been saying 3.
Yes.
So 2-0.
Parks and Recreation, number 1, consider authorization and execution of contract C-435-2018 with Axon, Inc. to purchase 5 tasers, holsters, extra batteries, and 20 extra cartridges, including an extended 5-year warranty for park police at a cost of $8,010 from the Parks and Recreation operating budget.
Good morning, Commissioners. As stated, we are here requesting to replace outdated tasers. Our current tasers we purchased in 2011. They recommend a 5-year replacement. Obviously, we've pulled well past that to get the most use out of them. In 2014, they ceased producing the X26s, and the battery productions were ending this year, so it's going to be awfully hard to get batteries to operate the tasers. So we figured this was an opportune time. We had some money that wasn't spent on salaries that we might be able to use towards replacement of tasers. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to try to answer them.
I guess my question may be more for the director than for you, and it's just that I know that there's been some discussions with the director, with at least me as a commissioner, about the future of the park police, whether or not we continue to have a park police, or whether or not it would be best served under the jurisdiction of the Shawnee County Sheriff. And that my question is that when we're looking at an expenditure, even though it's $8,000, before we invest in new equipment, if we've had a thorough review of our park police department and whether or not we'll continue with the park police department, we'll have it go back under the jurisdiction of the sheriff.
Commissioner, just like John Knight, Parks and Recreation, just like we do with all of our divisions, periodically we do a thorough review of all of our different operations. Park Police hasn't been looked at thoroughly for a couple of years. We're doing that now. I would think that that process would take a while to make any determinations, and I think in the meantime, having gone over the 2 extra years of what the useful life of these tasers are, I want to make sure that our officers are out there. They have equipment that works.
I mean, I think, John, that you've expressed, at least to me in the past, concern with the number of police officers, park officers we have, the number of parks that we have. It's kind of hard to be all over the county. And we rely very heavily with the Topeka Police Department and the Shawnee County Sheriff.
I have 149 parcels. I don't think the Shawnee County budget can handle me having 149 officers.
You're correct.
A lot of that, so I haven't asked. The other thing too is that a lot of our stuff, and you had a item on here a couple weeks ago on softball and alcohol. It seems like a lot of our issues are at the same time, but at several different locations. The after-school time for kids in schools, the sports leagues, some of those type of things, they seem to all happen at the same time. So working partnerships with possibly the sheriff's office or security companies or even the city of police, I think are all options we need to be looking at to use the county taxpayer dollars the wisest. Am I answering your question?
I just know that I've had a long ongoing concern with the Shawnee County Parks Police and whether or not we're really able to effectively meet those law enforcement needs, or whether or not it would be best served under the Shawnee County Sheriff, and so, or the Topeka Police Department. And I worry about the amount of exposure that we have with our Parks Police, with the amount of locations that they're needing to be at.
Go ahead. I was just going to say, I think we need to step back, take a look at all of that stuff, and then come back to the commissioners with several different options and find out where the best money for, or where the best tax dollars are being spent.
And your department's doing that review now?
Yes, we're getting that ramped up right now.
When would you anticipate having a thorough report to the commission?
Well, we could have that done before this next year's budget. I would think February, March.
I think it would be very beneficial to see the amount of law enforcement activities Park Police has done, a thorough review, a top-down accounting of our investment and what it's yielded. I don't know, your thoughts, Commissioner Archer?
Well, I have mixed thoughts, and I'd like to see what you come up with, but the fact is that the sheriff's got a lot of responsibilities, and he's got a lot of manpower issues, and we would lose priority, and we'd lose control on how our parks were policed if we went with that. I mean, that is one of the downsides, is that we would lose some priority and some control over how the parks were serviced. But I don't know. We'll just have to look and see what's the best approach. And I'm glad you're looking at it. I think it's timely that we do look at that, but there's going to be disadvantages and advantages to whatever approach we take, and I hope we thoroughly investigate those before we make a move.
I know that my anecdotal observation is that the Park Police primarily make sure that the buildings are secured, locked up, picking up money, making sure that the equipment is not taken or otherwise damaged by those that would cause harm to the county. And so that's whether or not that's best served by a police force or parks employees.
Maintenance, yeah.
The other things I might add is that Mike and his crew do an awful good job of developing safety plans and procedures for some of our major special events, some of those type of things. Some of them have gone excellent. Some of those he was given an impossible task. I think Huff and Puff a couple years ago became so many people wanting to get there, and we didn't have the infrastructure to take care of it. Some of those type of things. But that and investigating crimes that happen in our park, I do think they spend a lot of time doing that as well too. But you're right. They do. Their presence a lot of times is very beneficial. The behavior improves of the unwanted behaviors when they show up. So usually.
And again, I go back to whether or not it's prudent at this point to spend $8,000. I know when we're talking about a budget of over $100 million, $8,000 seems like a very small sum, but it's still taxpayer dollars. Every dollar counts.
Yep.
And so if we're going to look at investing $8,000 in new equipment, and if we disband the police force in May, August, depending on what your review says, what's going to happen to that equipment? Are we wasting taxpayer dollars? And I know that it needs to be replaced. It's over it's been in use for the last 7, almost 8 years. So.
I'd be happy to do whatever the pleasure of the commission is. I don't know, Mike, have you visited with the sheriffs? Are they compatible with what the sheriff's office already uses?
The Sheriff's Department uses an X2, which is, it actually can shoot 2 shots. It's a little bit more expensive. The ones we're looking at are a little bit cheaper. More fashion to the same ones we're actually using, so that the transfer over of training, et cetera, is not going to be that difficult. We also work with the Sheriff's Department to receive our TASER training. We cover all our requirements with the law, with our general orders. So we have regulations on the use of the TASERs, which follow the Sheriff's Department's policy also.
In the past 7 years, how many times have we tased someone?
We have actually deployed our TASER 1 time in 7 years.
I think we can defer consideration of
Well,
this contract.
Okay. The reason why is, and there's a national statistics to show, is because when you just pull out your TASER and you flip the switch on, a laser comes out.
Right.
And you get a lot of compliance as soon as that laser hits their body, because they know, okay, I'm had. So a lot of times we've not had to actually discharge the TASER for that fact, because we're getting that compliance and there's no need to go any further with our force.
Okay, thank you.
But are the batteries, you said the batteries are being phased out in 2018. Yes. Are the batteries still available at this time?
I'm not sure what the quantity is. It depends on all the other agencies around the world, because TASERs are a sole source supplier. So all the people out there that's got X26s out there that are still in the market, they're going to be going after these batteries because they're going out of production. I can't guarantee how long these batteries are going to be in production or available. Correction.
Can we defer action on this till the 7th and come back and see if you can get some more information on the batteries and whether, what production availability we may have? Give you a week.
I can find out.
Commissioner Archer, is that okay with you?
Sure.
All right.
Second.
Motion to defer action till January the 7th on this item. Made by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Archer. All in favor, say aye. All opposed. Passes 2-0 with the action being deferred until January the 7th.
Thank you.
I would reiterate that little red dot on you does make you behave a lot better, a lot quicker.
You said that.
So I've heard.
Is that personal experience, John?
Our next item.
Number 2, consider approval of request for a project budget of $350,355 to replace the turf on the Bettis Family Sports Complex soccer field with funding from the excess reserve funds.
Good morning, Commissioners. Sean Osborne, Parks and Recreation. The item before you is basically a project budget to redo the multi-purpose field soccer at the sports complex. The sports division had put together a 5-year maintenance plan. Previous year we did the JR field. The next one is the multi-purpose field, and that field actually gets the most use out at the Bettis Sports Complex because there's obviously multi-purpose soccer. We do have T-ball that plays there occasionally, and then on top of that as well, in big tournaments like the World Series that we host, there's usually 4 to 5 teams that are over on that field that are practicing, waiting to go play at the other fields that we have there. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
This turf is also used to bring in tax dollars or people to Topeka.
Yeah, the field there, we have multiple tournaments that get held there for Bettis. This field also gets used when we have rentals and different things, whether it's contracting out with another soccer group that wants to come in and hold their tryouts, and they come in and it's for a weekend. We may have a lot of people that come in and stay because the tryouts take place on Saturday and Sunday at the complex.
Commissioner Archer,
This is funded from the $2 million that we allocated to Parks and Rec the excess?
Yeah,
Funding.
this item's kind of before you, because in previous, you guys had passed the capital outlay for the girls' complex over there. This would be put together so that we could go out for one bid to try to get a better price overall for the turf at each complex.
Okay. I'll move to approve.
Second. Motion made to approve by Commissioner Archer, second by Commissioner Cook. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, passes 2-0.
Thank you.
Our next item.
Number 3, consider authorization and execution of contract C-436, 2018 with Power DMS to allow for efficient management of documents electronically at a cost of $6,525.05 with the funding from the operating budget.
Good morning, Commissioners. John Boyd, Parks and Rec. This, we are asking for approval for this contract for some software to manage our documentation for our CAPRA certification. As you can imagine, we create a lot of documentation, and we need to be able to keep track of everything.
Questions regarding this item?
How does it work?
It's a database, and I'm not a technology person, but everything is put into a database, and it's updated. If you put in a newer document, it archives the older document and gets that out of the way so the newer document is used, so you don't get confused as far as an upgraded document, et cetera.
Is it the ease of retrieving documentation? Is that what makes it such a good deal? I mean, as far as usability?
And the ease of it, the availability to all staff, it makes all the documents available in an index. It also, I just lost my train of thought, sorry. That's a lot of it, yes. It makes it available to the staff, and I believe it even has access for general users too, but I'm not sure if that's in this package or not.
So right now, you have to go to a paper file?
We have some documentation. John, you want-
The biggest efficiency that it's going to be for the administration offices, when we change a policy, or the county commissioners change a policy every Monday or Thursday down here, we then have to make for our plethora of policy procedure manuals that we have in probably in 50 or 60 places. Instead, we're always making sure that we've got the crisp, newest version of that, is that we could send that via email to the supervisor of those facilities, and that could happen this quick instead of somebody coming back when I'm counseling them on them not following a policy, and they thought they were because they were using the one from last year because we didn't get their manual updated or something. It's a lot more efficient, a lot faster, a lot better. People out in the field, some of our places still are struggling for really good connections, and with our iPads, we now have a wireless connection. A summer camp manager could be able to access this from out in the field.
Okay. That's what I wanted to hear. I'll move to approve.
Second. Motion to approve by Commissioner Archer, second by Commissioner Cook. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, passes 2-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next item.
Number 4, consider approval of request for a project budget of $412,155 for asphalt reclamation on East Edge Road, 37th through 45th, with funding from the excess reserve funds.
Good morning again, Commissioners. John Boyd, Parks and Recreation. I'm a little more comfortable with this one. We are asking for this project to be approved to go out to bid for rebuilding East Edge Road, at least in one phase. At this point in time, we broke it up into 3 phases just to go out for bid for the 37th to 45th Street. I have been in multiple conversations with Tom Flanagan, and he has graciously given me his bid specs for the project.
And this is a process that the Public Works has used in the past?
It is, yes.
And they think that this is a good standard for us to employ for this East Edge Road?
Correct. And actually, they've even made a few changes since the last one that they did, making recommendations about different materials that could be used at the same time. Yeah.
What would be our construction timeline?
From what I understand, we don't have a timeline yet because that would come with the bid, but it's a pretty quick process as far as being able to hopefully get it, now I'm guessing, hopefully 2 to 3 weeks to be able to be starting done.
But would we see this over the spring? I mean.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes, in the spring, yeah.
I don't know if you're coordinating with Public Works as we do the work on 29th Street. I would anticipate that East Ridge Road will have more traffic with the construction on 29th Street.
That's true. Yeah, we'll have to do some coordination on that, that's true.
Okay. Just if we can kind of coordinate our projects, I know, again, anticipate some rerouting of traffic as we do 29th Street improvements.
True.
Commissioner Archer?
Yeah, maps are always helpful, too. I
True.
don't see a
Okay.
demonstration or a map would be nice. We're talking about situations like this.
But it's going to be
Good.
coming back for a bid?
Yes,
okay.
yes.
Yeah.
When you come,
And benefits, the better, I think.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, John.
motion made by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Archer. All in favor say aye. All opposed, passes 2-0.
Thank you.
Our next item.
Item C, Public Works Solid Waste. Number 1, consider approval of request to create and fill a fleet supervisor position in the Department of Solid Waste at a proposed salary, including benefits, of $64,508.72.
Good morning, Commissioners. Kurt Niehaus, Director of Public Works and Solid Waste. Yes, I would like to create and fill a fleet supervisor position in solid waste. Presently, we have, between Public Works and Solid Waste, we have one fleet supervisor, and the single fleet supervisor is really overwhelmed with all the maintenance activities that are going on between the two departments. In addition, there's a lot of times, like when we have a snow event, and we have daily waste, solid waste pickup, there's competing activities going on. Should the fleet supervisor go out and support the snow and ice removal process, or should he stay in the garage to support solid waste pickup? So in summary, I'd like to create a unique fleet supervisor position for solid waste. It'll be 100% funded by solid waste. The existing fleet supervisor that's covering both departments would become 100% funded by Public Works. And then the assistant position that we have, the assistant fleet supervisor position, will continue to cover both departments. We feel like this would be a benefit. It improves the maintenance activities, oversight of our mechanics and welders. We think in essence, it'll be an improvement in customer service.
Kurt, when we interviewed you for the position of Public Works, one of the things you indicated is that you would be doing a top-down review of operations. Is this one of your analysis of operations?
Absolutely. It's one of the first things I identified is a need.
Okay. And then you believe that by having this new position that we would have greater efficiencies within Public Works?
Yes, greater efficiencies due to improved communications, due to improved oversight, again, of our mechanics and welders. I think it's a benefit all the way around.
Commissioner Archer?
How many vehicles do we have in Public Works and in solid waste?
A lot. I cannot tell you the exact number at this time.
Okay.
That's a technical term.
Yeah, I'd like to know. I think when we make presentations and talk about things such as this, we need to have numbers involved. I don't know how many solid waste trucks we have out there on the street at any given time. I don't know how many Public Works vehicles, so that would be, I think, appropriate anytime we talk about vehicles or anything else. If there's a quantity involved, I'd like to know what it is.
Absolutely.
I'll move to approve.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Archer, second by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. All opposed, passes 2-0. Our next item.
Number 2, consider approval of revised project budget in a total amount of $10,309,930 for the widening of Southeast 29th Street from the east end of the I-470 Kansas Turnpike Authority Overpass Bridge to a point 600 feet west of Southeast Croco Road, with funding from the residuals from the Willard Bridge Project, 2004 countywide half-cent sales tax residuals, 2017 countywide half-cent sales tax for bridges, federal fiscal year 2018 and 2019 federal obligation authority available for exchange with KDOT, and the 2018 and 2019 transfer of funds from the Public Works operating budget.
Good morning again. Courtney House, Director of Public Works and Solid Waste. Before we get to the agenda item at hand, with the Commission's blessing, I'd like to talk a little bit about the project. Is that okay?
Absolutely.
Okay. Beginning February 5th, we're going to start the improvement project on Southeast 29th from the KTA Bridge. Let me get my little pointer out here. From the KTA Bridge all the way to Croco Road. And let me see here. Croco Road is all the way over here. Now actually we're not going to go all the way to Croco Road. We're going about 660 foot west of Croco Road because the intersection had already been improved in the past. Okay. The work is really replacing the existing 2- and 3-lane road with a 5-lane arterial. The roadway is going to consist of asphalt with concrete curb and gutter. There's going to be enclosed stormwater drainage. There's going to be a signal system at West Edge Road. Bear with me just a second. Right in here.
West Edge Road already has a signal.
It does, but it's going to be replaced and improved.
Okay.
There'll be a pedestrian activated signal at, I'm looking for it here. Tom, am I in the ballpark? It's hard to see on here.
Yeah, if I may, please. The pedestrian actuated signal will be located right here.
Yeah.
Just east, about 500 feet east of Aquarius Drive.
Okay. And then, of course, we're going to include a 10-foot concrete wide hike and bike path. So that gives you an idea of what the overall project's about. 2 more components of the project are 2 bridges. The bridges at Deer Creek we're going to completely replace in phase 1. The bridge at the KTA, we're going to widen to the north to accommodate a 12-foot hike and bike path. Okay. The project is essentially split into 2 segments. We've got the KTA to Wittenberg Road segment, and then we have the Wittenberg Road to Croco Road segment. The KTA to Wittenberg Road has a substantial completion date of Friday, December 6, 2019. So basically between February 4th, December 6, 2019, that's what we're shooting for the first phase or the first half of the project. The second half, Wittenberg Road to Croco Road, has a substantial completion date of December 4th of 2020. Okay, so a 2-year project. Now, within each segment, there's various phases. And within the west segment, we have phase 1, where we're going to close Southeast 29th from close Southeast 29th from basically Granger to Wittenberg Road. It's going to be closed to through traffic 200 days. And the intersection at West Edge Road will also be closed. But fear not, access to the subdivision and access to these parcels along the closure, we will still provide full access. Because remember, the closure here is just east of Granger Road, so the public will have access via Granger Road to get access to their property. Likewise, the closure on West Edge Road will occur in here somewhere, so everyone will be able to get access along West Edge Road. Likewise, the entrance that's just off the bottom edge of this screen will still be available to the park. Okay, then again, I want to make this clear. During the closure, during the first phase closure from Granger to Wittenberg, All of these parcels along here, they will have access to their property, the owners or visitors. And
that's substantially the shack and the Vinewood.
correct. They will have access during construction. The only thing is through traffic will not be available. And because the road will be closed, we'll have a detour which includes California, Southeast 21st Street, and Wittenberg Road. Okay? It takes us to utility relocations. I know you've asked about that in the past. Well, obviously, there was no Christmas surprise. But I feel good that the gas will be clear very soon. We're not quite as confident on city water. But there is good news in that during this first phase, the utilities will be clear for that first phase, so there will be no impact to the start of our project. Okay, this takes us to last week. We received 5 bids. The low bid was $8.283 million. The high bid was $10.047 million. Fortunately, the low bid was approximately $400,000 lower than the engineer's estimate. Funding sources. There's a number of funding sources. We're going to use residuals from the Willard Bridge project. I think we're using residuals from a Urish Road project. Is that correct, Tom?
Correct.
Okay. We're using 2004 countywide 1/2 cent sales tax residuals. We're using funds from the 2017 countywide 1/2 cent tax. We're using 2018 and 2019 Federal Obligation Authority funds. Obviously, for the 2019, we're just making an estimate at this point, but based on the history, we have a decent idea of how much we're going to get. And then we're going to transfer from funds, I think, $650,000 for each year from our 2018 and 2019 operating budget. So if you combine all of those funds sources, we will have ample funds to complete the project. Any questions before I go on to the agenda item?
We've talked in the past, and again, I want to stress that the bridge at Deer Creek is being built in the same design as the WPA bridge that's there. Again, we are unable to preserve the history of the bridge due to its decline in structural integrity underneath, as well as it being a 2-lane and not being able to take it from a 2-lane to a 5-lane.
Right.
And so we've tried to adhere to the heritage and history of Shawnee County by constructing a bridge that will have the same look as the WPA bridge.
Not only that, but it's my understanding we've hired an individual to actually photograph the existing bridge, to document it maybe visually in drawings or what have you, so that there will be an historic record of the existing structure.
Okay. Again, we took great care to preserve our heritage, but unfortunately in this case, with it going from a 2-lane to a 5-lane and the overall state of the bridge, it's unable to be maintained.
Correct.
Okay. And then during the bridge construction, what's the actual timeline that the Granger to Wittenberg will actually be completely shut to all traffic?
It will be, the contract time is 81 calendar days. We hope it's less than that, but by contract, it's 81 calendar days.
Starting when?
Starting February 4th.
Okay.
Conceivably February 4th.
And then opening by August?
26th, or April 26th.
April 26th.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So those parents that are looking at baseball season or softball season hopefully will not be impacted and getting to and from practices.
Absolutely, and considering that it's a 2-year project, we hope that 81 days will not be too much of a burden on the public.
And you, again, with your predecessor, Mr. Vlock, he talked about utility, and Mr. Flanagan with utility relocation. The Cox, AT&T, everybody else has moved their power line?
All clear except gas and city water. But we anticipate gas will be cleared very soon. We're not so confident about city water. But again, the good thing is they've cleared from this segment phase 1 of the project, so there should be no impact on the start of our project.
Okay, city, we're looking at you. We need your help on this one. All right? So, then, so, I mean, at this point, I don't know what more, I mean, but we're working with them to get that taken care of.
We're staying on top of it. We have a consultant, obviously, that's been involved in this project. They continue to communicate with the city to stress the importance of getting city water cleared. They've had great weather up the last 2 weeks, so hopefully they've made a lot of progress. Yesterday wasn't obviously a great day to be working utilities, but we're not panicking at this point.
Okay. Commissioner Archer, questions about this?
Yeah, I do have a few, Mr. Chair. Yeah, utility easements are always a problem. They've slowed down a number of city projects that I'm aware of, unfortunately, that has been a mess. Just getting some basics. On east and west of this project, we've got 2- and 3-lane roads. Why did we go to 5 lanes?
I think it was probably because we anticipate the need for 5 lanes when you consider the ball diamonds, the amount of development that could take place mostly on the east side of the project, north of 21st or 29th Street. So it's just an anticipation of a need that 3 lanes would be preferable to 5 lanes would be preferable to 3 lanes.
But that was well documented. I'm going back in my memory to do that. And on the 10-foot sidewalk, is that supported on the east and west?
On the west side, it is not supported because if you look at, if you look at the KTA bridge, we're going to provide, obviously, the widening for the KTA bridge, and then I think these red lines here indicate the 10-foot hike and bike trail, and then I don't believe the city section has such a thing. Tom can clarify.
That's correct. Tom Flanagan, Public Works, this project is basically for the trails, hike and bike, is based on the fact that John will be bringing a trail down through Dornwood Park to get to 29th Street, bring it over to join into the Lake Trail. Now, as to what's going to happen on 29th Street from the west side of the KTA bridge up to California Avenue, in talking with them, they're planning to do that, a widening project on that sometime in the future, but I don't know where that's going to fall in their capital improvements program. So, again, that's in the city. They'll have to take care of that, but we will have 29th Street that's out in the county taken care of. That also matches up to what we have built over the last 10 to 12 years to upgrade Croco Road to 5 lanes.
And this is what Commissioner-elect Rippon was working on and asking for federal funding or state funding from this, and on a match for that part of the trail extension through Deer Creek. I'm looking to the back of the room.
Yes.
All right.
And I helped Bill a little bit on when he was budgeting for that to take a look at these numbers.
Okay. All right. Commissioner Archer?
We have a number of funding sources here. Do we have an allocation from each one of these? I know, for example, it says residual from the Willard Bridge. How much is there? And still, don't we owe KDOT millions of dollars for the Willard Bridge?
We owe KDOT $850,000 annually, paid in March.
Right.
Betty, I believe we've made one payment. We'll have our next payment coming due here March of 19. The monies that's coming off of that, we have accounted for that. That's in the That's in the account. Right now, in the account balance for this project, we have $7,632,360 in that account right now.
Okay.
Then, come January 1, I'm going to transfer the $650,000 into that account, bring it to 8.2 million. Then we could take in March, generally we get our distribution for the half-cent countywide bridge sales tax, 1.3 million. That's what we get, 188,000 bucks out of that. Yeah, $188,000 out of the 2017 to 2032 sales tax bridge allocation, not the 1.3 million. I don't think we need that. Then the federal obligation authority that we get, that'll be coming in March. And last year we got $1 million. And they, at that time, under Governor Brownback, it was a 75-25 split on that.
Right.
Okay, Governor Collier changed that and put it back the way it used to be to a 90-10 split.
Right.
So we're seeing our share of our federal obligation go to about 907,000 bucks. I've also heard that we actually might get a little bit more in federal obligation authority, over and above what we had last year was the $1 million. We might get a little bit more. With that, I'm seeing we can, assuming we don't run into no major change orders, that we'll easily be able to fund this project. The one that concerns me for possible change orders will be the fact the volatility of liquid asphalt oil. Right now, it might be down a little bit, but it trends upward, and then it'll fall off, but it'll go up and down. And the county commission several years ago passed a resolution allowing contractors to bid an honest price for oil.
Right.
And then we would compensate them for the volatility of oil as they laid asphalt. So let's say we started out this project with a liquid asphalt oil index of $500 a ton. Now, let's assume that they start laying asphalt this April or May, which they will be. Let's say that liquid asphalt oil, the index jumps up to $550. Well, then there's a formula to calculate how much more money they will be able to get paid for that asphalt. Those are what could fluctuate up and down. If the oil index goes down, they pay us. If the oil index go up, we pay them.
But recently, petroleum's gone way down.
But not asphalt oil.
Remember, the asphalt's a byproduct, so it has its unique, supply and demand issues.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I appreciate all this explanation, but I don't think it was included in the documentation in the agenda, was it?
Probably not to that degree.
Okay.
Not to that, yeah.
No, not to that degree.
Okay, because people have called me and asked me about, what are we doing? How are we spending the money? And the explanation you gave is just great. This is where we're getting the money. This is where we stand. These are our concerns. But I think that's better explanation and documentation for what we're doing and what we owe the public than the brief that we got in the agenda. Okay?
I agree with that.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
So just to kind of bring us back around, so phase 1 is what we're looking at through April. When would phase 2 then start?
Phase 2, that's going to be from Wittenberg over to Croco Road. That's going to head off into 2020.
Okay.
We will be concentrating from Wittenberg Road west to the KTA Bridge and get that done in 2019.
All right. And then making accommodations for the people that are going to the subdivision, as well as traffic that would otherwise be redirected off of 29th Street elsewhere.
Yeah. Now, I'll just cut to the chase if I may. You want to cheapen this project up, close it down, build it. You want to carry traffic through, traffic control on this project is eating us up in cost. Especially to put that bridge on the turnpike, the traffic control there on the turnpike to continue to handle the 70-mile-an-hour speeds on that turnpike is significant, and that's dollars to be able to handle the traffic control on this project. It's massive.
How much?
Probably about $700,000 in itself.
Wow.
So that would
Because
mean,
these signs are paid for per sign per day that they set in place.
that might be a discussion a little bit for a different day. With 3 commissioners present.
Good point.
And I don't mean to kick the can, but I think that this is a discussion that would warrant having all 3 commissioners present for. Commissioner Archer? The cost is, I mean, we have to look at our costs and we have to look at the impact on our public. But if by shutting down the roadway, would that increase the timeline or that it would be completed?
It would probably shorten it up,
Yeah.
but your problem with that, the inconvenience to people wanting to get through. 29th Street right now carries about 14,000 cars a day. And if we carry traffic through on one lane in each direction while we're building, a lot of people will avoid the area because of just concerns of construction traffic next to them. So they'll go other directions, but there'll still be significant amount of traffic. And the people in the shack, the dock, Vinewood, they want in and out. The residential folks between West Edge and the KTA, they want to be able to get in and out of their driveways, so they'll be coming through there. The lake gets a lot of traffic. You've got the commercial property there at Beach Drive. You got the Sonic Drive-In. You ask about when baseball start. I've got 4 grandsons that are playing baseball out there, so I know that'll be starting in March. And I've already had their dads jumping me about this project.
All right. Any other questions? At this time, I would move for approval of the revised project budget.
Now, second.
Motion made by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Archer. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Passes 2-0.
Commissioners.
We have 55 solid waste vehicles and 70 public works vehicles,
For the record.
for the record.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next item.
Item D, Human Resources. Number 1, consider authorization and execution of Contract C-437, 2018 with Blue Cross Blue Shield to provide the administration of the county's self-insured health benefit plan.
Good morning, Commissioners. Angela Lewis with Human Resources. This is our contract with Blue Cross and Blue Shield. The deductible and coinsurance rates have not changed. However, we did take telehealth out of the Blue Cross and Blue Shield as we went with First Stop Health here in December. And we've also added electric breast pumps to the coverage.
Any questions regarding this item?
If I may. When's the last time we RFP'd for administration of health?
That would have been before I came into the office, which was a year and a half ago. So every 2 years.
Betty Griner, Director of Administrative Services. Willis did that for us 2 years ago, and then we're on a cycle with them that every 4 or 5 years at the most we go out and they bid those out.
Okay. Okay. So
Thank you.
it's competitive and we've, okay. All right. I'll move to approve the contract.
Motion for approval by Commissioner Archer, second by Commissioner Cook. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Passes 2-0. Our next item.
Number 2, consider approval of resolution number 2018-76, establishing a flexible benefits cafeteria plan for Shawnee County employees, and resolution number 2018-77, setting the non-taxable employer contribution.
Good morning, Commissioners. Angela Lewis again with Human Resources. This resolution, the first one, establishes our flexible benefits plan. Our flexible benefits plans include all of our benefits that we offer to our employees. The second one is our non-taxable employer contribution. This is the amount that the departments pay into the insurance plan, and it's going from $781 a month from $812 a month, and it was included in the 2019 department budgets.
Any questions?
I'll move to adopt the resolutions.
Motion to adopt by Commissioner Archer, second by Commissioner Cook. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, passes 2-0.
Thank you.
Our next item.
Item E, Facilities Maintenance. Number 1, consider authorization and execution of Contract C-438, 2018 with Terracon for concrete core samples and petrographic testing of 3 separate concrete pours utilized in the construction of the northwest parking lot at the courthouse at a cost of $6,800 with funding from the Deferred Capital Maintenance.
Good morning, Commissioners. Bill Kroll, Facilities Maintenance Director. This item is in relation to the kind of ongoing negotiations we have with the contractor on the project for our northwest parking lot. We had some concrete failure in that area. We are in a process of setting up some mediation and in visiting with kind of a brain trust, including Mr. Flanagan, Mr. Niehaus, myself, our architect, and the county councilor. It's our feeling that it would be a good idea to go ahead and get these samples and sent off to a laboratory to get the full petrographic testing of it, which is the most complete testing of concrete you can get, to make sure that liability would go where it needs to be, and we feel that would be toward the contractor.
And this was concrete work that was done in 2017?
Yes.
By Mohawk Construction?
Mohawk Constructions was
And
our
then-
general contractor on that.
And then Cousins Concrete?
Cousins
was the
Concrete was the subcontractor.
And
Yes.
so we've been working, trying to mediate the concrete failure.
Yeah, we haven't got to mediation yet, but we're in the process of getting there. The county councilor has been working on this very diligently. One of the things we may be able to do is actually recoup the cost of this testing if the mediation would be to go in our favor. I know Jim would look at that as one of the options for it.
All right. Any questions?
But this is just building a case.
Yes.
This is presenting evidence on the mediation.
Yes. Jim could probably
Yeah,
answer that a
thank
little
you.
more clearly than me. The legal part.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jim Krause, Shawnee County Councilor. There has been what I would call limited, or what I've been told, I'm not an expert in concrete, limited testing on this that was actually done by the concrete supplier. During our discussions with the contractors and their legal counsel, obviously, they try to present different alternative theories for the failure of the concrete beyond pure workmanship as the reason for the defects. And so this type of testing will allow us to eliminate those other arguments and focus in on what the cause was, but also give us a more complete idea of the structural integrity of the concrete that we have, because there are some different proposals out there for how to remedy this problem. And one of the proposals, which may be workable, as we've discussed on our end, would mean leaving the concrete base in place in the parking lot. If we're going to accept something like that, then we need to be confident that the failure is just the very top layer and the rest of the subsurface is intact. This will allow us to know that, along with additional support for costs. So that's why we're asking for the testing, so that if our negotiations fail and we have to go to litigation, we'll be ready to go.
Jim, your position is that the cost of $6,800 should be able to be recovered?
We'll see. We'll see. I mean, it's all part of the negotiations and getting it done. We'll try to get that recovered.
How much do we pay Mohan for that?
For the concrete part of that project, right around $135,000, $140,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is curb, gutter, the parking lot itself, and some sidewalk.
The estimate to redo that I was given by Mr. Sims, our architect, was $170
$170 to do it right this time.
to redo it completely.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the contract with Terracon.
I'll second.
Motion made by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Archer. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, passes 2-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next item.
Number 2, consider approval of request to solicit requests for qualifications, RFQ proposals for exterior cleaning, repairs, renovations, and weatherproofing of the courthouse exterior with funding from the Deferred Capital Maintenance Funds.
Morning again, Commissioners. Bill Kroll, Facilities Maintenance Director. This item is to find the qualified companies that would be willing to give us proposals for cleaning the stains and things on the limestone and granite at the exterior of the courthouse, weather sealing it as much as possible. Pretty much all the vertical surfaces of the courthouse. Wouldn't include the roofing being a separate issue, but generally try to buy us some more time out of this building, which we think we're going to be using for quite a bit more. And we would use the deferred capital maintenance money eventually to go ahead and maybe move forward with this project.
Bill, when was the last time we had an operation like this done?
To my knowledge, probably about 20, 25 years ago, maybe further back. It might have been in conjunction with the stairwell addition on the east end and things like that. I don't think it's been done anytime between 1965 roughly and then we're about 25 years down the road again. So
would this include a power washing and then?
Be power washing, sealing, making sure that the limestone, we have a few areas that the limestone is actually kind of chipped, and it would resurface some of those areas. It would put new joints in where we need them, using specialized materials that, the materials that today in most cases are better than the ones that they actually constructed the building with, as far as the sealants and things that they would use to make sure the building is waterproof and weatherproof for another 25 or 30 years.
Any questions? No. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Archer. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Passes 2-0.
Thank you.
Our next item.
Item F, Administrative Services. Number 1, consider approval of request for the 2019 memberships, dues, and subscriptions in a total amount for all departments of $188,573.18.
Betty Greiner, Director of Administrative Services. As 2019 is just around the corner, this is a list of all of the membership dues and subscriptions for the year of 2019 from all the departments, including general fund and other funds. They are listed for you by department, and then each department submitted this request as part of their 2019 budget request. Then we did ask them to go back and review them as they have more information, and maybe they have reviewed what they will need for the year or not. We also asked them to evaluate them for the best, most effective use of funds. This list you have is the revised or the reviewed list from each department. I will point out the total is $188,573.18. That is slightly less than last year, about $3,008 less than last year. As you see, each department was asked to list the purpose or the need for that membership due or subscription. I will also remind the departments mostly that there is a $50 acceptable range for each one of these memberships, dues or subscriptions. Anyway, if it's within that $50 range, if it's $50 less or $50 more, then the clerk's office has the authority to go ahead and pay that. If it's more than $50 more than the amount stated here, then it will be on an agenda for you to approve. Oh, I'll be happy to answer any questions you have.
Any questions?
No. I'll move to approve the request.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Archer, second by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Passes 2-0. Thank you. Our next item.
Administrative Communications.
This is an opportunity for any department head or member of the public to address the commission on any item.
Good morning, Commissioners. Barry Moss, Shawnee County Treasurer. Just a reminder that the Treasurer's Office will be closed to the public on Monday, the 31st, for year-end closing. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public administrative communications? Commissioner Archer?
We don't meet on Monday, and just everybody, Happy New Year.
I would concur, and be safe, and look forward to seeing everybody back on the 3rd for our next meeting, January the 3rd of 2019. Our next item.
Executive session?
There is not a need today, so we are adjourned.
Okay.